Hello, welcome to Animal Audit Corner. Today, we have the true crimes of Scientology with Sandy, and she did a story on following the money trail that deals with Scientology and the criminal organization, which is a money laundering cult. Now, here is the story she put out there. This video is going to tell you how much money a Scientologist. Scientology is known for their cheap labor within that organization, also well known for not having any medical. Everyone within Scientology are noticed for being in poverty. Scientologists are also known for not having enough money for necessity. Scientology is the world's most cheapest organization off this face of this earth, and David Miscavige is the most cheapest of them all. And not only that, he would be the worst monster of them all. David Miscavige would set quotas at 125,000 Ks a week. It would be the minimum that he had for every. We were not paid the regular required we're supposed to have. They were supposed to have 2,000 a week, which is what a regular person would make if they work over 70 hours. They are supposed to make 2,000 the entire. The food budget that was supposed to feed 300 people, were cut. So you can imagine what it's like for people who have their food budget cut. Almost all the Scientologists was forced to work 10 to 15 hours. And that's in a day. Of course, that's what a shift is. Everyone would work 75 hours a week, 7 days a week. Everybody would be paid $50 a. After they would paid $2,600, that would be before taxes in a year, which is not really much to live off of. Now, even a regular part-time worker would be working 30 hours and get more in about. That pay would not be an allowance that would have to cover at the test all personal items. Scientologist doesn't cover the cost of all the items that it will cover such costs as underwear, feminine shampoo. Boy, I should have got my glasses. Deodorant, conditioner, socks, and underwear. A woman in the Sea Org doesn't have feminine products that she needs when her monthly bill comes. I mean, it's impossible for a woman to be even living in those ships or in the blue building on L. Ron Hubbard Way. There is no way a woman can live not without those feminine products like pads, tampons. They need all of that, or else forget it, they're gonna leak. Now, Jenny Linsing, you know you're leaking. That's right, I'm an embarrassment to you, am I? Well, guess what? That's how a woman would feel. But they're not gonna tell you that. Because you're a bully. And so it's and you need those things. And if I embarrass you right now, tough, because that's how other women in the Sea Org and in those blue buildings live. Of course, the Sea Org does live there. I know that. But think twice. Now, the Aftermath Foundation and the SPTV Foundation will still be there for you guys if you want to leave. Now, how could you live like that? You know you don't want to live like that, but you do. No woman is able to live like that. Those are the official documents. Incomes from a Scientology when she sent a report to Social Security of a billion-year contracts in 1995, an 18-year-old that was going that turn 19 on May. The statement that was made was 75 hours, 7 days a week for 60 cents an hour. This statement that the Scientology would make 2053. That's how much a regular part-time worker would make. Now, everybody and Scientologists, if they're not wealthy, would make below that amount. Of course, this is a regular pay at a regular job. Now, people at a burger joint make more than everybody at the Sea Org would make. So guess what, David Miscavige? Keep on talking, because guess what? Your Scientologist would make more at a burger joint than working for you. So keep telling them that. Go ahead, just keep telling them that. Then in 1996, a Scientologist spent on contract at a chateau at the age of 20. This person would work 75 hours in an hour. 75 in an hour. 7 days a week for after 1997, a Scientologist who was in 3 years into the billion-year contract at the chateau at the age of 21 at 75 hours a week for 7 days a week for 64. Now, Sandy McKenna really knows her stuff. Then 1997, a Scientology spent 4 years in a billion-year contract in the chateau at the age of 22. This person worked 75 hours a day. No, 75 hours a week for 10 to 15 hours the same day. That person would make 50 cents after 5 years of being in a billion-year contract at a chateau at the age of 23 for 75 hours a week. 7 days a week for 67 cents. And it would get up by 11. Around March 2000, she was being integrated for about 6 months. They had found out that this Scientologist was in a lesbian relationship. The relationship was long-term, but they never had sex. And it's all due because Scientology doesn't permit sex before marriage. Of course, in those days, they were firm. But today, they don't really look into other people's privacy. It would be a private matter between whoever, whether it's the same-sex relationship or the opposite sex relationship. 2000, she was excommunicated. She would be put for work at a concentration. Oh, excuse me. Oh, sorry, everybody. For reprogramming at the Big Blue Building. Now, where were all the authorities at the time? They weren't doing anything. They just let Scientology just control those people's thoughts, minds, will. And every time somebody escapes, the LAPD just keeps sending them back. And all due because that they are in the back. Now, there are better police officers out in the world. They are meant to look after for the best interest of the public. Not the best interest of one group or one person. Everybody. Then on January 2002 through November 7th, 2002, that year, the Scientologists spent 8 years in a billion-year contract and spent 3 years in the Scientology concentration camp doing more manual labor at the age of 26 with 84 hours a week for 7 days of working. She would get paid 13 cents. It fell. Because that's the mark that David Miscavige wants. He just wants all the cheap labor. In this country, you're not allowed to have slave labor. It's been written since 1866 when Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation into law. Now, this is something you expect from other countries. This is what I expect from my parents' homeland of Turkey. In Turkey, now I don't know how they operate now, but I hope to God that it wasn't like that, like this now, like it was back in the earlier years. That was with my dad when he was put to work. Like I've mentioned before, he was the same age as Aaron was when he was working. He was also 12. Making toys for other children to play with. Of course, Aaron would build a building in Clearwater when he was a 12-year-old boy. Yeah, already said that. David Miscavige has everyone slaving away, while he lives like royalty, and they always live in such bad conditions as well. So that would mean, okay, let those people starve away, live in rags, and smell, and only get about 1/4 of a paycheck. Well, I live in royalty. Who the hell cares about them? This is what he's doing. This is what Sandy McKenna had in her PowerPoint when she listed everyone in Scientology's payroll. That's how much money in those years that he or she was making. That's how much a Scientologist in those years were. So, guess what? Her mathematics is better than mine. And the chateau that Scientologist was employed at would make it at 125K with a minimum of 6.5 million. That was the entire estimate for everyone in Scientology businesses that is associated with the LLUS at America is hard with their complex organization layout. That's what everybody gets. But you know what? Let me see if I can find it again. Okay. The chateau where I worked, this is from Cindy McKenna's page, made an average of 125,000 per week. One location made on the minimum of 6.5 million per year, estimating at the percentage number of Scientology churches, associations, businesses, and LLCs in America in difficult due to their complex and often obscure organizational structure. Let's see what else there is. Well, no, you know what? Let's go off the page. So there we go. So the average Scientology don't make as much as a regular part-time job where a regular person would make, including when the precise figure maintained the evidence that Scientology around the United States in 1995, their network of their businesses within all the organizations, the IRS conduct indicated that bit by bit that 153 registered corporation the true number would be complex due to the nature of the organization operation that is in the United States. Wow. All of the 1,000 front groups that are around due to tax exemption environment with the cloak of religion that Scientology would correct the IRS with in that organization. Then nevertheless, the precise records have made billion of tax exemption dollars that Scientology gets every single year from each and every bond servants that range anywhere from the age of 15 through 85. While those slaves would be less than that their wages would be less than 75 cents a hour with 75 plus hours a week. That's how much. But at the same time, when will the FBI and IRS put an end to all of the Scientology criminal organization? Just find, because guess what? Back in the 70s, Scientology lost their tax exemption the first time around when L. Ron Hubbard was. Then, all in all, we haven't seen any government official close that cult down for good. And when will the FBI going to finally raid the child trafficking cult down in Los Angeles? And at the end, we should call an end to this torture, abuse, brutal, defamation, neglect, malnourish, and killing is not a religion. It would be the core within Scientology. Now, once you commit acts like those, you should no longer be considered a religion. You should consider being a criminal. Or then, in conclusion, we all should follow the trail of money to shut down the criminal organization that is hiding behind religion. That is called Scientology. Shut down for good. Whew. Now, Sandy McKenna has an amazing show on YouTube. Just go to her channel, watch it. She is just so fabulous. She has this excellent voice for not just YouTube, but for our radio. This is Sandy McKenna with True Crimes of Scientology. She would be hosting that show. She is just so incredible. So take time off on her day, on any day, to go see her show. She did an excellent piece on Lisa McPherson and the torment she went through before her death. It is. It's just so amazing. So tune in to her show. Oh, geez. I should have looked up the days and hours a week that she's supposed to be on. I'm sorry, everybody. Just check the SPTV space. It would be right there. Look in the directory and it'll be there. Of course, I should have checked it before I actually, oh boy, excuse me again, before I actually came out. I apologize, everybody. So, hit the like, press subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow at the same time. Now, I'll let you know if I'm going to go on 7 o'clock or 4:30 ahead of time. I promise. So, like I said, hit the like, press subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow at 7.